Hey everyone, Mike here from MLive.com, joined by Justin Rogers. Back at it after the bye week. Justin, Jim Caldwell had his first press conference of the week, and of course Matthew Stafford was a big topic of debate. His future is somewhat in question. It's certainly unclear at this point with Mayhew out, his biggest supporter in the front office, and his future will be determined by the new guy who comes in and assesses that position, Stafford's place with the team, his contract, all those things. There's been some conjecture out there that maybe he won't be back. There's other people saying that the Lions would be foolish to let go of him. Where do you fall in this whole debate?
I think one, depends on who the new GM is. Two, depends on where the Lions land in the draft. I think if the Lions are holding a top 2 pick, you know, the odds of Stafford being here next year probably decrease, but I still would probably put them over 50%. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me to let go a quality NFL quarterback. I'm not going to say a great one. I'm not going to say a good one, but a quality NFL quarterback without having a logical replacement. I don't know if Jared Goff or Paxton Lynch or Connor Cook are that guy, but until that's clear, stick with what you know. Yeah,
Dave Brickett and myself and you and some people in the press room earlier were talking about just the percentage chance. I was curious the percentage chance that Stafford will be back next year, and obviously it's all unclear because the person making that decision is not even here yet. But I was curious what people said. I fluctuated from like about 50%, I would say 50-50, and I think I was the most optimistic at 70%. I thought it was a 70%. I think it's a 70% chance he's the starting quarterback week 1 of next year. And the reason I say that is because it's about a 50-50, but if you move on from Matthew Stafford, what then? Like, it's easy to talk about that in the abstract. Well, Lions offense hasn't been good enough. Stafford hasn't been good enough. He definitely hasn't fulfilled his potential. All those things are true. But if you say you do cut him or trade him or whatever the case may be, what then? Who plays quarterback for you? You're going to end up with your version of Ryan Fitzpatrick or some guy like that, some veteran who's just out there, just a guy. Are you better off with Fitzpatrick over Matthew Stafford, or you go through the draft and are you really better off with a rookie quarterback next year? Maybe in the future, sure, but you would take a hit in 2016, and I'm not sure if a new GM is going to want to do that with the roster that's in place. I just think Stafford gives the Lions likely the best opportunity to win in 2016. I think that's why, anything can happen, but more likely than not, to me, he's back.
Why are you bagging on the smartest quarterback in NFL history? You talk about Stafford's wonderlick at 38. I think Fitzpatrick was 48. Yeah, as a Harvard grad. But that's why I say number 1 or number 2 pick. Again, I don't know if Goff or Paxton Lynch are the guy, but a new GM who he takes as a quarterback next over Stafford is going to be the guy that his legacy is tied to.
Right.
And if you keep Stafford and decide a year later that he's not the guy, well, you're probably not going to be picking 1, 2, or 3 again. You're probably going to fall back more into that 6 and 10 to 9 and 7 range, and you're going to be picking in the middle of the first round. You're going to end up, selecting a guy more along the lines of E.J. Manuel, and just the likelihood of finding success the further you go down outside the top 5 just drops exponentially. Yeah. So, I think if a new GM comes in and he's in love with Goff or Lynch or Cook, then go for it. Make your move and state your claim immediately and build around that guy. You're still going to have Calvin Johnson for a year, assuming they don't deal him. You have Golden Tate, who's a quality receiver, Theo Riddick, Eric Ebron. You have a ton of weapons for a young guy to quickly develop. I don't think this has to be a 3-year developmental program for a quarterback. They're going to have some lumps early, but there's enough support here outside of some offensive line struggles, which are well noted, that they can adjust quickly.
Yeah, I don't mean to sound like Martin Mayhew here and make Stafford seem like a Hall of Famer who's unimpeachable. He's got his issues and stuff, but I just think if you're talking about 2016 and winning in 2016, and I think that'll be a condition of whoever the guy who comes in, that's going to be a thing. This is not the Lions. The ownership at least does not view this as a rebuild, right? They think they have Calvin Johnson and Ebron and all these guys. They want to win right away, and I think Stafford probably gives you the best chance. I see a situation where even if they do get one of the top guys in the draft, that they keep Stafford for a year and let Stafford. Sure. And the new guy battle it out. Stafford probably wins that, but it would give a chance for the new guy to ride the bench for a bit, learn some stuff before he's thrown out there to the wolves. Because I can't think of very many rookie quarterbacks who have had great rookie seasons. And almost everyone goes through their lumps at some point. Stafford certainly did. Some of the best quarterbacks have had bad rookie seasons as well. So it's there's a lot of ways it can play out. But if you're talking about 2016 and being the best team you can be in 2016, I do see Stafford still here and the starter in Week 1.
And he's not as bad as he has played this season.
Absolutely not.
He's also, I don't think he's as good as he was in 2011. I think that was an anomaly. I know it happened. I think he deserves all the credit in the world for that season, but that's not something he's shown that is he can repeat. But if let's just say they go into the draft and they have that top 5 pick and they go out and they get a left tackle and they solidify and strengthen the offensive line even more with the aforementioned weapons, I think you can see more of what Stafford can be. And again, that's a slightly above average quarterback, I think, which is good enough to win in this league if you have a quality defense and you play that complementary football that Jim Caldwell is always talking about. But I think we're done with the elite discussion. I don't think he's ever going to reach it. I think that conversation needs to go out the window. It's too deep in his career. He's not that guy.
I agree, and the thing I tell people is, to me, Stafford is not elite. He's not a guy like Aaron Rodgers or a guy like Tom Brady, who you put those guys on any team, and he makes the guys around him better, the offense better, the team better. I'm not sure Stafford's that guy. But few people are. I mean, there are only one Aaron Rodgers and one Tom Brady and a couple other guys who are in that echelon of quarterbacking. Most guys, at their best, are just good quarterbacks. They're good at what they do. They have decent accuracy. They can avoid turnovers. They can drive an offense, all these kinds of things. They can score points. And I think Stafford can be that guy. He just needs help. He's not going to make the guys around him better. Give up on that. I know people still hold that against him because he's the number 1 overall pick, and that's where the bar was and all that stuff. That's not Matthew Stafford. But he's talented enough, he's good enough, I think, to win if you put the right people around him. And I think a lot of those pieces are in place. But the train wreck, the dumpster fire that's on the offensive line doesn't give him an opportunity to show what he can do. And I think a lot of quarterbacks in his position would similarly struggle. I just think it's way too early to write the guy off. I think he has enough talent to win. You just got to put some guys in front of him.
If Eli Manning and Joe Flacco can win Super Bowls, and I think those guys are similar class of talent to Matthew Stafford, then Stafford can do it too. But again, you need the right pieces from coaching to offensive line to defense to complement you and get you over the hump.
Yeah, the stat people like to trot out as a counterpoint to my point, and there's a lot of valid counterpoints out there. This is a discussion both ways. I'm not necessarily preaching gospel here, but the counterpoint I hear a lot is that, he's never beaten a winning team on the road, or look at his record against winning teams. Well, the fact is that he plays for the Lions, and the Lions historically have not been very good, and very good against winning teams, and very good on the road. And it's more than just the quarterback. The win-loss record of Matthew Stafford is akin to the win-loss record of Justin Verlander or something. It's not totally irrelevant, but there's way more variables that go into it than just the quarterback. And he's played for a crap team, and look what's happened this year. Can you really pin the defensive the slot on defense and the lack of depth on the offensive line and all these things on Matthew Stafford? Well, he can make those things better by being better, but they're not really his problems either. If he's on a better team, he has a better record, I think. And if he played for a different organization, he'd have wins against winning teams and all these things. I think you can win with him. He just needs better players around him, and I think it behooves the Lions to go on those fronts, to look for that left tackle or whatever, as opposed to looking for a quarterback.
It's not a totally irrelevant stat, but Aaron Rodgers also has not beaten a winning team on the road in nearly 3 years. He just lost back-to-back to Denver and Carolina. It's really hard to beat teams that finish with the winning. You don't even get that many opportunities in a season. So it's a lazy
tough
stat.
I think it's a lazy argument just to say, well, he's never beaten a winning team on the road. I mean, it's tough to win on the road, period. Particularly when you play for a franchise that's been in the dump since he got here. I mean, this team was 0-16 when he got here. I think he's done some okay things. Obviously, not good enough. I'm not putting him in the Hall of Fame, but for the people who say he should be out of here, I just don't agree with that sentiment. I think the Lions probably are best off with him at quarterback in 2016.
I can't wait to reshoot this video at the end of the season when we have a better picture on where things are at.
That's all the fire we got for today. For Justin Rogers, I'm Kyle Mink. You are M Live. Keep it right here.